Okay, so you're thinking about starting an LLC, and you want to know if it needs an EIN.
Sounds like you're in the right place.
Right. And we're going to dive deep today into this question about LLCs and EINs, specifically whether your LLC needs its own EIN.
Definitely.
Now, um, you've already got a pretty good handle on the basics of what LLCs and EINs are, right? Like you sent us some notes on that.
Right.
So we're going to kind of go a little bit beyond that kind of surface level and really try to get into some of the nuances that we think will really matter to you.
Yeah, exactly. We'll assume you understand what they are, but let's focus on why they're crucial for you.
Perfect. So let's start with that. Why, right? Like, why should someone even bother forming an LLC?
Yeah.
Like, it can't just be about paperwork.
Exactly.
Right.
An LLC is like a shield for your personal assets, your house, car savings, all that.
Right.
It keeps them safe from any debts or lawsuits that might hit your business.
Yeah.
So, let's say someone slips and falls in your store.
We get that.
If you're operating as a sole proprietor, they could come after everything you own. But with an LLC, that liability is limited to the business itself.
Okay, so that makes a lot of sense. You're basically building a wall between your personal life and the business.
Exactly.
So that's the LLC.
Uh-huh.
What are the EIN, though? Now, I know it stands for Employer Identification Number.
Yeah.
But, help me connect the dots here. Why does it matter?
It's pretty simple. The government needs a way to track your business for tax purposes.
Okay.
An EIN is basically like a social security number for your business.
Oh, I see.
The IRS uses it to identify your company and make sure you're paying your taxes and everything's above board.
Gotcha. But does every LLC need to get an EIN?
That's where it gets a little tricky.
Okay.
You absolutely need an EIN if you have employees.
Right.
Or operate as a corporation or partnership.
Okay.
But even if you're a solo entrepreneur, there are some strong reasons to get one.
Oh, like what?
For example, opening a business bank account almost always requires an EIN.
Right. So even if it's not strictly required at the very beginning to get an EIN, getting that separate business bank account is probably a smart move to keep things organized, right?
Absolutely. It just makes everything so much clearer come tax season.
Yeah, for sure.
And actually, depending on how you structure your LLC for tax purposes, whether it's as a sole proprietorship, a partnership, or even a corporation, the way you handle finances will differ.
Whoa, hold on. Different tax structures within an LLC.
Yeah.
Can we unpack that a bit?
Sure. So you can choose how your LLC is taxed.
Okay.
If you're just a one-person show, you might opt for a sole proprietorship, where all the business's profits and losses are just reported on your personal tax return.
Right.
Now, if you have partners, you might choose a partnership structure.
Okay.
And if you want a more formal setup, you could even have your LLC taxed as a corporation.
Huh. Interesting.
Each structure has its pros and cons, so it's worth doing some research or talking to a tax professional.
Yeah, get that expert advice.
To figure out what's best for your situation.
Yeah, totally. Okay. So I'm starting to see how this can get pretty nuanced.
Definitely.
So even as a solo entrepreneur, an EIN and a separate bank account are probably good moves right from the get-go.
I'd say so.
Now, what about those services that help you set up an LLC?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know you're familiar with Inc. Authority.
Yes.
Are those worth exploring?
They can be really helpful, especially for first-time entrepreneurs. They help navigate the paperwork and legal requirements of forming an LLC.
Right.
They often even offer free basic packages.
Free is good.
It is, but it's important to understand their business model. They often make their money through additional services like obtaining an EIN for you, which might come at an extra cost.
So transparency is key.
Exactly.
You got to read that fine print and make sure you understand the full scope of what you're getting into.
Couldn't agree more.
This has been super helpful. I think we covered a lot of ground and really got into the nitty-gritty of EINs and LLCs.
Yeah, I think so too.
Any final words of wisdom for our listener as they embark on this whole exciting journey of starting an LLC?
As you're going through this process, don't just focus on the immediate requirements.
Or,
Think long term. Will you need an EIN down the line?
yeah.
Do you think you'll hire employees or change your tax structure? Thinking about these things now can save you so much time, money, and headaches in the future.
Great advice. Huge thanks to our expert for, breaking all this down and guiding us through this deep dive. We're excited to see what you create.
Good luck.
Yeah. Good luck out there.
Have fun with it.
Yeah, absolutely.